Aloha, I'm Paul Norman. I'm the Executive Director of Neighborhood Place of Puna. And since Hawaii recognizes October 2nd as Mahatma Gandhi Day, I thought I'd talk a little bit about Gandhi and one of his principal ideas. So for those of you who don't know who Mahatma Gandhi is, he's best known for leading the nonviolent independence movement that ultimately resulted in India's independence from British colonial rule in 1947. But today I'm specifically going to talk about Satyagraha. Satyagraha is a term coined by Gandhi. It's often translated as soul force or truth force. But when you look at the word, when you look at the etymology of the word Satyagraha, it really means something like clinging to truth or holding firmly onto truth or grasping onto truth. And of course, with any word that comes from a different language and a different culture, we need to be careful because Satya, which is a Sanskrit word from India, carries with it a really well-developed sense of meanings and layers. It has a sense of what a just and ordered Indian society would look like, and it has some religious connotations. But I think for us, the most important thing to take away is that when we talk about clinging to truth, when we talk about truth, we have to recognize that this is truth with a capital T, that in some sense, it is a universal truth. And while Gandhi employed Satyagraha as a method to win India's independence, Satyagraha does not really celebrate the defeat of enemies through force. Rather, Satyagraha is a process of situational transformation to create a healthier and a more just society. The way that Satyagraha works is that it forces change by showing our opponents how their racism or violence or greed is harmful not only to the victims, but to the perpetrators themselves as individuals and to society as a whole, right? So when we have an unjust system, an unjust structure, racist laws or whatever, the way to affect that change is not only to apply pressure to make actual concrete change, but to frame the discussion to help our opponents, to help the larger society see that it is fundamentally unjust. And so you begin to create a much deeper level of change. And, we can think about this idea in terms of the work that Neighborhood Place of Puna does with families and children, right? So we all know that it is fundamentally wrong for families and children to experience homelessness, right? We all know that it is fundamentally wrong for families and children to experience hunger and want, right? We know that families and children should have enough to eat, should have a place to be safe, to live that is safe and stable. That is a truth, right? We know we should help those in need. You don't have to train. It's instinctive that we instinctively want to help someone who's hungry by giving them food, or who's thirsty by offering them something to drink, or if they're outside and exposed to the elements, by giving them shelter, right? This is a fundamental truth that we all know. And if we don't practice it now, or we don't feel that we believe it, it's something that we have learned later on in life. And because we know that that is a truth, we kind of have to recognize that it is unjust for a nation as wealthy as the United States to have such a significant number of homeless and or to have a significant number of homeless and hungry families and children. That injustice, the continued existence of family poverty, of family hunger, is not only harmful to the individual families who are suffering through homelessness, who are suffering through hunger, but isn't harmful to our entire society, isn't harmful to us as a healthy community. And, you know, of course, the work that's going to be necessary to end family homelessness, to end family and child hunger is going to be hard, right? It's a lot that has to be done. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean we should give up, doesn't mean we should let go of what we fundamentally know is true, right? We need to cling to that truth, right? Satyagraha, we need to cling to that truth and continue to realizing it, to aligning our actions and taking action to realize the truth that every child and every family should have a home, should have sufficient food to eat. And from a Gandhian perspective, if we cling to the truth, if we cling to that fundamental truth, if we practice satyagraha, ultimately, we will be successful, even if we ourselves don't see that success, right? Satyagraha is about the long game, persistent effort over time to realize this fundamental truth, in our case, that every child, every family should have sufficient food, sufficient housing, right? And that's kind of what Neighborhood Place of Pune is about. I mean, that's at the core of what Neighborhood Place of Pune is about. That we are trying to support and create a community in which every family thrives, in which every family has a safe, stable, and nurturing home with sufficient and nutritious food to eat and meaningful and valued work. So if you want to know a little bit more about Neighborhood Place of Pune, you can visit us at neighborhoodplaceofpune.org. If you like this video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. And if you want to get notified when the next video comes out, please click the bell. Aloha and have a wonderful week.